Welcome to your Sprinkle with Hope podcast. The purpose of our podcast is to spread hope, light, and love. It is important for us to be engaged in this work so we can help motivate, uplift, and inspire you. Whether it is listening to us or hearing one of our amazing guests, our hope is that what you hear encourages you, strengthens you, and helps you discover additional tools to create a better life for yourself. Share this with family and friends, leave us a review or rating, and know that each small action you take to spread this message is appreciated. Subscribe to our podcast or YouTube channel so you don't miss anything.
Welcome to the Sprinkled with Hope podcast.
This is Jason. And this is Shane.
And it's podcast time.
Welcome back to Sprinkle with Hope podcast and your host Shane. Today we're super excited to introduce you to Heidi Delaire. She is a lot of things. She's a heart space guide and coach, a creator of Love Wide Open, a podcast host of Heal Your Story with Heidi Delaire. She's a thought leader, holistic health practitioner, intuitive health healer, a licensed massage therapist, and I had to look up this word. I think I'm going to say it right. A registered Ayurvedic practitioner. And so that's a lot of things. Heidi, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here. And yeah, it is a lot of things.
You're sure busy. So I want to start off because I actually ran across the Love Wide Open Facebook group. And I think there's something like 3 million followers on that. So talk to us about why you started that and a little bit about Love Wide Open. What does that mean?
Yeah. This is an interesting story. So Love Wide Open came to me in a download. I'm also a poet. And at the time that the thought of Love Wide Open came to me, I was writing my book.
Oh, cool.
And I often do writing via audio, right? So I record it in a raw form and then, fix it later. So I remember exactly where I was when this happened. I had just come from the ocean. I was coming back home and I'm heading up this big hill, and all of a sudden, and I'm like, I don't know how to do that. So that was back in 2014. Like, the name came, you need to put words to pictures. It's going to be a way for you to heal. And through that, you will help others heal. And so I was just like, well, I just don't know how to do that. And so I call my friend who is like a website guru. And I said, so I had this idea. And she goes, go see if the domain name is open right now. As any good webmaster would do. And I went, and it was available. And right then in 2014, I created like the landing spots for everything, and then didn't know what to do with it for about 2 years. So in 2016, let's just say the right formula kind of came about, and
Gotcha.
And I launched Love Wide Open. So the biggest premise behind Love Wide Open is part of a healing journey. It's self-development. It's, awareness. It's about not loving too far forward and not loving too far back.
Yeah.
Love Wide Open. It has a valve on it, right? That, you can be a people pleaser, or you can hide because you're scared to love yourself. So there's a lot involved, and it's about empowerment. And I often find that people use it however they want, right?
Sure.
You see a message, and it's your own interpretation of what it actually means. So it was amazing. And in just a few short years, almost 3 million followers on that page. And then it also inspired me to do my own page, which is, 750,000.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's sort of the little story behind Love Wide Open. And it's been started out as an inspirational sort of page. And then the self-development articles and website came, and just really trying to help people realize that, they've got more in here to help themselves heal than they realized, get them out of this busyness and back into the body. So that's a short but long snippet.
No, I love it. And as you were talking, I was thinking, what is one of the hangups that causes somebody not to heal or to move past that? What do you kind of see in the work that you do with all the individuals that you've been, that you've met and helped them kind of overcome? What is one or two of those obstacles you see?
Yeah, I would honestly say like the main thing is this old programming that we have from very early on in life and childhood. And these we can call them traumas or pain
Right.
or events, whatever you want to call them, take place, and it creates this coping mechanism for us as children because we don't know any better, and we do some things to help us at the time, which then later in life isn't helpful to us at all.
Right.
But that's the old programming, and that's what we fall back to. So a lot of times people don't even know that they need to heal something really old and underneath. And it's about dissecting down to that. And then other times, people don't know how to heal because they just don't know that there's something that they need to heal. And they're going to plow through it with thought instead of come back to the body and the heart and really try to understand it and kind of almost make it your friend. That's like, it's okay but now I'm gonna like move forward in life a little differently.
So I'm curious, did you study this, or have you just been self-teaching yourself how to be aware of the heart and inside?
Yeah, so I will call myself an empath and a recovering people pleaser. As a child, I didn't really have a voice, which is amazing to me that I'm even on this podcast with you and have my own and, a 4 million following. I was an observer. I took a lot in. Everything affected me deeply, very empathetic. And my own people pleasing ways created life events for me. And then when I started to heal those, I really went into the healing arts. Went into, Ayurveda, massage school, mindfulness, meditation, somatic healing experiences, writing to heal, embodied healing. So it has been, and then life coaching, certifications. So it has been an evolution of not only healing parts of myself, but understanding those parts in other people to then be able to help them move forward and feel just a little bit better about themselves. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I agree. And I think that oftentimes those little traumas and things really cause a lot of issues with relationships and it can affect everything we do. Right. So what is kind of one of the ways that, one of the practices, maybe a meditation or something that could really help somebody kind of overcome some of these traumas they're dealing with?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like people think about meditation and they get a little weird about it. I wish there were a different name for it.
Right.
Right, because people think about meditation as having no thought, which is impossible. We're human beings. We have thoughts that come through.
Right.
It's about getting quiet enough to recognize the thoughts that keep us into thinking and to then quiet ourselves back down. So I have a heart space guided meditation out on YouTube, which I find super helpful for anybody who's feeling anxious, just feeling out of body, feeling out of sorts. That when we do meditation that brings us back into the body and think it's not about the head, it's about the body, we find ourselves going into a calm place very quickly. And to just expand on meditation, a meditation can literally be breathing. Like right now, like the three of us together could just hand on heart, hand on belly, and take 3 slow breaths and feel what that does for you. Just brings all levels right back down.
Yeah, can we run through that real quick and just maybe walk us through that little breathing exercise, and maybe those who are listening could also just kind of follow along with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd like you to try to relax your shoulders. You're in a nice seated position. Take your right hand or left hand, whichever feels comfortable for you, and put one on your heart and put the other one on your belly. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take one more deep breath in and let it out. And just sit with this feeling for a moment. And know that your nervous system thanks you greatly. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back to the room.
So interesting that to me, it felt like I was grounding myself and almost connecting with my body when I put my hand over my heart and my stomach. Just very interesting. We've talked a little bit about breathing, and I'm learning a lot more about that often we forget that simple thing of breathing. And if we can train ourselves to breathe a little bit better, then it helps us come back to where we are.
Yeah. So I mean, we can break that down in the simplest form. When we don't breathe, what happens? We die.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
And I think we forget as human beings, because we are such thinking beings, that is the one simplest way to bring yourself back to body. And when you actually touch yourself that way, like, it is super grounding. You are coming fully back into the body. And it just drops the nervous system down to say, oh, thank you so much for that. I really needed that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think both of them, because I've never done that practice, it's almost like it was making me a whole person, right? Like not just my body, but my soul and my heart and my mind were almost connecting in a way. It's just an interesting uh, exercise. So thanks for doing that. So Heidi,
Yeah.
I actually mentioned you're a coach. So do you meet with people one-on-one, or how do you do that? How do you do that coaching?
Yeah, I do. I do meet with people one-on-one. I call them heart space sessions. And we can cover a gamut of things. I tend to mostly work with other empaths and sensitives, but anyone honestly
Right.
can do this work, and it's really based around um, gosh, so many things. Like, I could tell you, I've had somebody who said extreme childhood trauma, who then ended up like people pleasing in work and life, and lost complete touch with themselves, to not feel their own purpose,
Mhm.
to someone so overthinking all the time that complete overwhelm. So really, again, these heart space sessions are working with the things that people are struggling with, to bring them back into this space, to make them aware of what's trapped in the body. And it's emotion. It could be physical.
Right.
To remind them what's trapped and slowly work at releasing that. So yeah, I do one-on-one, and I'm getting ready in the next month or two to launch a group program where I can help more people at once. And I'm pretty excited about that. So
That's awesome.
That is
yeah.
awesome. And thank you for running us through that breathing exercise. I think that it's, Shane and I have done different types of breathing exercises before. And that one had just a slight variation with just, putting our hand over our heart and over our stomach. And just, I think that was a good way to connect back to our body and to ourself. So thank you for running through that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's one of the simplest things that anybody can do throughout any time of the day. If you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed or just something's bothering you, something has happened, you can just take a time out and be like, I'm just going to breathe. I'm just going to, and even one deep breath can bring you back to yourself.
Yeah, that took us like what, minute or less or whatever to do. So we're not talking a huge amount of time that you have to devote to doing that. And obviously we come in this world breathing, right? And it's the last thing we do when we leave. So I think there's a lot of importance and connection with our breath and our body and just ourselves. And so thanks for running through that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
So what else are you kind of working on right now that's exciting and, up and coming, things that Heidi's got going?
Yeah, well, I'm ever evolving my podcast, the Heal Your Story. It does give like tips and techniques.
Awesome.
Like that, a shortened version of the expanded things I do with people one-on-one. And I've also started to turn some of those into what's called conversations. And those are also out on YouTube and in video. And that's fun and exciting with other, healers or just people I know who have gone through struggle and how they have healed their story. Because we all have something to heal, every single one of us.
Absolutely.
And when we become more aware of that, that's when life gets a little more joyful. Okay? Yeah. So that is an ongoing project. And like I said, the group program that I've got coming up, I'm excited to launch. And I'm going to do a little workshop around that in the next few weeks. So the easiest way for somebody to find the workshop or the program is, go to HeidiDelaire.com or healyourstory.com. Will take you to the same exact place. And you can find either of those there.
Awesome.
Great. Super busy. Heidi is really busy. So for those of you who are watching, you can see it's Heidi with an I. I want to point that out. So if you go to HeidiDelaire.com or lovewideopen.com, you can find all these things that we're talking about. I follow her on social media. Love the stuff that Heidi puts out. And so we're super grateful that she was able to join us. So near the end of our discussion, we have what we call the double down dose. So I have a question for you, and then Jason will ask the second question. And we love this part because it's so different with each of our guests. But the first part of the double down dose is, how would you define hope?
How would I define hope? Hope is that place where you look out, and to me, it's a door you get to walk through that takes all of the pain away. Hope is that place where you look to see, not everything is lost, and that there is beauty around me in the world. I see hope as this big, beautiful skyline. Yeah.
I love that.
Great.
That is great. What a visual that gave me. So the second part of the double down dose is, what is your definition of love?
Yeah. Well, boy, that has changed over the years. Right? I think we all, early on think that love is about romance and romantic love. But to me, love is this beautiful human emotion that we have that is expansive and often, I think, outside of words. That it's more of a feeling of acceptance of yourself and other people, and to be open-eyed and open, hearted to accept all of what comes in to life, loving the hard times. Because when you love the hard times, you also realize there's something more beautiful on the other. Love is really hard to define.
Yes.
And I think I feel that love can only be expressed in the present moment for anyone. And when we try to take it too far forward and too far back is when we get in big trouble with love.
Such great insight. Heidi, as we've been talking and we're sharing all of the things that you're busy with, I really appreciate the fact that through all the busyness that you have and all the things you're working on, that you're finding time to help other people in the world. I think that's so important, that we all lift each other up and we help. We're all going to go through life unscathed. We're going to have tough times. And I hope that each one of us help pick each other up through those hard times so that when they come, we know who to lean on. And so I appreciate the work that you do. I'm super grateful that you were able to join us on our podcast and love what you do, everything you're doing. Keep up the great work.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you both for what you are also doing. I think it's through conversation and, understanding others like you're doing with these, spirals of hope. That is what it is. When we share our stories, we feel seen and heard, and we understand that, we all have many more similarities than we do differences.
I totally agree with you. I just had one last question. You, up behind you, you have these little flags, and I can see one of them says love and courage, and I think peace. And what are all of those, and kind of what is that? Because it looks like it's either in Japanese or a different language or something. And so
yeah, sure. I'm in my local healing office right now, where I do hands-on work and other, one-on-one as well. So, I don't have my glasses on, so. But they are Asian symbols, and with a description underneath, and I could turn. We could do this, right? And I'll do the love one since we just talked about it. So love is an inspired form of giving. Love breathes life into the heart and brings grace to the soul.
That's awesome. It does breathe life into the soul, like exactly what we did, breathing, and just a great wrap up. Again, Heidi, thank you so much for joining us. We sincerely appreciate it. And again, keep up all the great work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I had a really good time.
Yes, thank you.